Hello, everyone, and welcome back to some Burden of Command as we go back in with us now being captain and also with us finishing the first area in the last session. We got through Morocco with, I would say, a pretty good result. Not a perfect result, but a pretty good result. Uh, Yeah, we fought into Casablanca, or maybe is there one more step here? 10th of November. Thought we were finished. Okay, I guess we're not. Oh no, we are. Okay, at least the fighting dies down. At last, the fighting dies down. Major victory. Yeah, did the job. Consolidated company inside the military camp. The injured are carried into the French hospital, where local doctors and nurses seem surprisingly willing to help. The dead are laid in the shade. With the base secured, you move readily from squad to squad, preparing for the inevitable French counterattack. Lieutenant Wilson sends word to you requesting a meeting. Eventually, you step inside a small enclosed garden, not far from the base commander's fine Parisian house. Wilson is already there. He stares at a girl in a blue dress, lying under the shadow of a tree. She would seem asleep, almost peaceful, if it weren't for the bloody ruin where her legs once were, and the emptiness in her glazy brown eyes. We won, Lieutenant Wilson says, but it's never clean. Looked Lieutenant Wilson. Wilson's features are a mask. He's seen this sort of thing before, and he's never liked it. Let's look after the living. Burial detail will be by soon. We will save others, I promise. Wilson advances doctrine. We'll be more careful next time. It never seems to help, Lieutenant Wilson says, but his voice quiet. But hell, if I know what else to do. He turns away from the garden and walks back to his men. Wilson advances caution, his combat fatigue, plus 20 realism, plus 2. When Wilson is far enough away, you arrange for burial detail and cordon off the area so that no one else sees the girl as she lies. Despite the beds, no one can rest. Streets echo with sporadic gunfire. That afternoon, a dozen tanks arrive. Their crews eager to suck up the camp's fuel supply. Preparation for final showdown, you all know, is to come. Big 105mm howitzer are towed in next. Then 10 trucks full of supplies come cracking in. The men eagerly load up on ammo and eat hot chow in the French mess hall. The mood is anxious, but confident. Tomorrow the men expect to be marching down the streets of downtown Casablanca. In the wee hours, a French car flying a white flag rolls up to the gate. A French officer, a colonel no less, asks if he might speak to the battalion officer. His jaw drops in shock when he is told that you are just a single company of infantry. You send him and Dearborn along to Major Cloud. Half an hour before the jump-off time for the attack, rumors filter down. The French have capitulated on Armistice Day, 11th November 1942. Order to occupy Casablanca without further fighting are pending. So we wait. Orders are orders. A messenger arrives with a handwritten letter from Major Cloud. French will surrender. Treat them well. We'll be fighting alongside them as allies soon. Your initiative was excellent and judgment superior. It was only elsewhere that our results were lacking. You will almost certainly be called upon to write a formal after-action summary so that we may all profit from your company's success. At the bottom, just above his signature, are the words, send casualty list as soon as practical. Fortunately, that list will be a short one. The letters home to the soldiers next of kin will be otherwise.
2 days later, the Germans invaded unoccupied France, whereupon Admiral Darlan, declaring Pétain a prisoner of the Axis and himself chief of state, ordered the cessation of hostilities.
Events moved swiftly. To Algiers came General Anderson, commanding the British First Army. General Giraud took command of the French land forces. United under General Eisenhower, they were ready to take the field. Once more, the tricolor, the Stars and Stripes, the Union Jack flew side by side.
So yeah, it's off to fighting Nazis now. News come in. Good news for once. That afternoon, a ragged and dusty column of men wearing uniforms of desert tramp through the gates of the camp. Their rifles are slung on their backs. Some are angry, others confused, but they are all bone weary. It is clear that none of these Vichy soldiers has any intent of fighting anymore. The man at the column said, a senior officer by the looks of his sword, speaks to Major Cloud and his assembled battalion staff. Then one by one, the haggard riflemen file past and let their rifles clatter into a swiftly growing pile. Ammo pouches, helmets, and other gear get their own little stacks. Those will be sorted and returned to the French army in due course. So it's finally over, Stern marks, as you and your platoon leaders watch the ceremony out of the window of your temporarily assigned barracks. With grim satisfaction, he adds, and that means we can stop this dancing around and start fighting the real enemy. Aye, let's fight some Germans. I wouldn't be so keen to get to grips with Jerry if I were you, Wilson replies. His attention only half fixed. It's a nice detail that he's using the World War I Jerry there. Half fixed on the goings on outside. His scraggy features, as he's a World War I veteran. His scraggy features brought out as he talks. They were tough bastards last time, yeah, and they damn well haven't gone soft since. Dance with the crowds before you're ready, and those jackboots of theirs will stomp you into Wiener Schnitzel. Wiener Schnitzel? Sergeant Grant asks quietly. Hot dogs, Lieutenant Stern replies. I fear that I am actually in agreement for once, Dearborn says, in an evident half-joke. Concerning this brush with war, our first taste of battle has, well, let us be frank, gentlemen, at times has bordered upon disaster. If we do not learn the lessons that the last few days have been so kind to teach us, then, Dearborn shakes his head sadly, doesn't have to elaborate. You know exactly what he is talking about. This stuff is way above our pay grades. So what are we supposed to do? Stern asks frustratedly. Just sit here and hope the brass knows what they're doing? Stern acquires professionalism, his combat fatigue, 20 plus 2 realism. Didn't you know that, kid? Wilson replies. The corners of his lips turn up into a well-feathered smile. Soldiers are like mushrooms, because we get kept in the dark and fed bullshit. Wilson acquires zeal. Whatever they end up doing, I hope it is a better job than they managed this time. Dearborn comments sourly. We are short of officers and men as it is. Requires professionalism as well. Let's not darken the sky anymore. Yeah, let's not do that. I'll refrain from further conjecture, sir. Dearborn replies, which is not too far from an apology. The disarming continues. The discarded rifles become a pile. The French officers retain their sidearms, though as a military courtesy. Say, Stern asks tentatively, the barest quiver of anxiety in his voice. How did it happen anyway? Captain Lamb, I mean. One of our own sentries shot him by mistake. Wilson nods. It happens sometimes. It's nobody's fault. For a moment, he seems about to continue, but he doesn't. He has nothing else to say. Nobody does. The crack of rifles being set on the ground becomes a mournful cadence that wafts through the open window. Some of the French soldiers, on the other hand, seem happy it is all over. Those that don't wear their anger about their eyes. Either way, they stagger off for hot food, while long sleep now that their burden is lifted. A letter, dear one says at last. One of us ought to send a letter to his wife, his widow. A few words of condolences, of comforts. He is entitled to more than a War Department telegram. He takes a deep breath. It would only be proper. Wilson gives a little cough and everyone looks his way. He had known the captain the best and the longest, but the old man shakes his head. No, I can't do it, he says. I'm no good with a pen. Wilson turns to you. So do the others. You grasp for words to define your company commander, your predecessor as company commander now, you suppose. You try to imagine what words would console the widow. You rack your brain. How do you distill a man down to a few sentences? How could you describe Captain Elliot Lamb? He was a decent tactician, from what we've seen. He was these three things. Let's go with this. The thought echoes in your mind. The others give you space to think. As the last of the French soldiers discards their rifles, the words come to you. A pen and paper are waiting in your map case. Mr. Slamp, I regret to inform you that... by war bonds. Moving through North Africa. Okay. We did take some casualties. We did get some replacements, luckily. And we can afford veteran replacements. So we should do that. Combat fatigue. Costs 10 prestige. Okay, we are pretty fatigued. Can get those guys to high level veterancy. Let's give these guys rest and respite. Okay. Ooh. Can get these guys higher. Okay, we absolutely need to get our mortar a bit higher as well. And that's where we go here. Continue the journey. Your captain is your ace. Use the... Yeah. Oh, we instantly moved to Sicily, okay. No combat in Algiers. Yeah. No Tunisia.
When I got home, I learned that everybody was fighting that war. It wasn't just the sailors and soldiers and Marines, it was everybody. They were saving scrap, rolls of tin foil, they were rationing gas, butter, of all things, which I'd been used to having all I wanted, and they were doing it enthusiastically. Plus they were paying a little more tax so that they...
11:20 hours, 8th of March, 1943, near Rabat, Morocco. chill winter wind of Morocco nips at your cheeks as you jog past the 4-mile marker. Weariness is now an old friend who likes to lurk in your bones. Of course, you are not the only one suffering. The trail ahead and behind is dotted with staggering figures in olive drab. 3rd Division's new CO, Major General Truscott, demands that every man under his command be able to run 5 miles in an hour in full pack, from the lowest private to his regimental commanders. Those who can't hack it get sent to other outfits, but Truscott isn't the only change to get used to. 20 minutes, Old Man Wilson shouts from behind you, as he leads his bedraggled 2nd platoon on their own run. Come on, boys, he shouts to the man behind him. Gonna let the captain beat you? That certainly is one way to fire them up. And further faster and fight harder. Captain, that's you now. The promotion was inevitable. Lamb's recommendation before his untimely death made the decision easy for regiment. Paperwork came through in January, and Colonel Macon pinned the bars to your collar just before he himself was promoted to Brigadier General. You can only hope you'll measure up when Nickel Company, your company, inevitably goes into battle again. There's hard fighting over in Algeria. It's hard to tell who is winning in the east. All you know is that a lot of men and vehicles are going there and fighting hard. You finished the run with 8 minutes to spare. Not bad. All things considered, however, there is no time to celebrate. First Sergeant Grant, promoted the same day you made captain, waits anxiously at the door to your CP. There's still a war on. Grant gives a cautious nod as he approaches. No rest for the wicked, apparently. Captain, there's a few matters. Firstly, a battalion briefing scheduled for 12 or 100 hours. All platoon leaders and company commanders to attend. You not. A quick word to Wilson sends him on to inform your other officers of the appointed time. There's the usual paperwork, but that can wait because you've got a reporter asking for an interview. Grant continues. And the new 1st platoon leader arrived from stateside this morning. With all due respect, Captain, he looked a bit green. No, we don't do sarcasm here. Then he better be a quick learner. God, I hope so. Grant replies darkly. Otherwise, we'll be shipping him home in pieces before long. Optional scene. Possible prestige, trust, and realism change. Let's talk to reporters. A light refreshing rain begins to fall as 1st Sergeant Grant leads you towards the rusting fuselage of a downed bomber. The army stripped off the important parts and the locals finished the job. Now only an aluminum skeleton and the faint outline of a white Allied star are left. You note a woman in fatigues and also a sergeant stripes in a sheltered lee beside the wreck. Her sleeve carries the blue and white stripes of the 3rd Infantry Division. She brightens up when she sees you. Captain, do you have a moment? Of course I do, miss. Miss Violetta Magrina, correspondent for the Prime Tribune, she says, rattling off the words as if in the typewriter. And she begins to pull out a notepad. She cocks a glance skyward and blinks at the rain. Savoir try, preferably. The inside of a fuselage allows the damp smell of rain to mingle with the stench of the fouled oil and rust. However, the bomb bay itself is surprisingly intact. Despite a leak here or there, with the catwalk and the wrecks removed, there is enough room for the 3 of you to be comfortable and for the moment dry. Miss Magrina warms her hands by blowing hot breath into them. Never knew that the desert could be so cold. What exactly does a war correspondent do? We are the press for the army, Miss Magrina says. Then shakes her head. Sort of. We are more trusted than the official press releases because we have more access. We do get censored, but that's not really what we were asking for. Or what you were asking. Was it? She rubs her hands a moment. I'm here to write stories for people back home. Accurate, truthful, interesting stories about the men on the front lines. Sometimes they even get published. So sometimes accurate stories don't make it. So the uninteresting stories are left out. Well, that's true of most reporting. People want certain kinds of stories, she says. That means I don't cover paperwork or routine maintenance in depth. And God knows the army gives us enough of that already, First Sergeant Grant says. She spares Grant a smile. I have to agree. So, Captain, do you want to get in print or not? I noted you're wearing sergeant stripes. The jacket's alone. The army gave me the rank of captain. As a courtesy, of course, she says, and pats the patch on her sleeve. Personally, I find that having a few stripes is better than a green correspondence armband. This way the privates know that they can't boss me around unless the shells are flying. The whole thing is a little crazy, really. I'm still a civilian, but under military authority. The army can't tell me where to go and what to cover, but usually they can't because it makes us less effective. Military side of things is settled. Questions. She pulls a small wax paper bag from her pocket, which she unwraps to reveal a small notebook. With deliberate motion, she flips past the page cover and then flips through pages upon pages of crammed notes until she finally finds a bookmarked and empty page. Her pen, silver and black, slides out next, and after a tap on the side, she prepares to write. There's just enough light coming through the cockpit window to catch the first shift of ink upon the page. However, the wax paper stays between her other fingers, angled to intercept any droplets that happen to fall its way. Now then, Captain, your Sergeant Jack, First Sergeant Grant here, was kind enough to relay your particulars. No need to cover the ground, she says as she starts scratching down notes under the dry patch of fuselage. Grant gives a little cough and looks away. The current dateline is 11:40 hours, March 8th, 1943, near Rabat, Morocco. But we'll be talking about the events of last November, Captain. The unit played a critical role in storming Cape Fedala and silencing the French coastal guns. Can you tell our readers what happened there? Our men utilized their training at every turn. There were a lot of heroes in my outfit. The victory surprised me, so did our losses? No. Our men utilized their training at every turn. You credit your men as best as you can. Miss Macrina writes down every word. So what was it like to serve under Patton? Miss Macrina asks. Everyone seems to have a different opinion. Probably called old blood and guts. Could tell you a lot about his orders and the results. Never met him. I never did I? Discretion can be good for a career, Miss Macrina notes. About the landings. Initially, reports indicated numerous difficulties getting ashore. But what about your share of Morocco? Saw plenty of wrecked boats on that beach. The sea were calm, but the reefs remained. I heard that Coast Guard coxswains put in good work, Mr. Macrina remarks, and idly marks the page with a tick. Now a lot has already been written about Casablanca, but if you would indulge me. Hey, Stash, thanks for the follow. We kicked the French out of their barracks. We all did our job. That was what was important. That's what the press likes to say, Mr. Macrina says, then records your take on the battle. I can only hope those words remain true for the armies, especially given how badly things are going in Tunisia. It has been good talking to you. Tunisia. General Frendel really left a mess as 2nd Corps commander. The units scattered, British, French, and ours, all mixed together, Miss Marquina says, and then shrugs. At least that's what I've heard from those who've been out there. General Hughes gave me a quote. We have men, but no organization. Hopefully Patton can change that. Rommel certainly won't wait. Hello there. Rommel? Yeah, he'd put a tough one. Patton will make Second Corps work. Patton has to be an improvement on Fredendale. Fredendale? Miss Marquina notes. The old Second Corps commander ran things his way. Terribly. Rehashing a general mistakes is above my pay grade. So it is, she replies as she examines the notes from a moment. Outside, the rain is now only a faint pattern of the fuselage. You really didn't hold back. I doubt the sensors will let this slip through Miramar. It seems several of them were wounded by shell fragments. Well, shells don't discriminate. Our guns blasted the town. Shells don't care. It seems several of them were wounded by shell fragments. Miss Marquina writes down your full description of the event. She chuckles as you described how briskly even the old German officers could run when motivated by the odd shell landing around them. Those Germans were not happy. One of them, a doctor, supposedly protested his separation from his patients as being against the Geneva Conventions, Miss Marquina relates. The odd thing was how quickly the press whisked them back to the States. But those were the first German prisoners we took, so maybe there was some novelty in that. The rain lifts, and a sliver of sun comes out from behind the clouds, filling the interior of the bomber with promise of light. Miss Marquina deftly returns her notebook to its wax paper home, and then peers outside. Could be a nice day, eventually. You can never know for sure out here. The Downed B-24. This particular photograph was taken in 1959. The crash bomber, Lady B. Good, was lost April 4th, 1943 in the Libyan desert. The remains of the crew were found in two groups, one roughly 78 miles from the crash site, and two more bodies found over 100 miles away. Oof. So they survived, but they didn't make it back to the home lines. Rough. First Sergeant Grant helps her exit, the boots squelching into fresh mud. She favors him with a kind word, then returns and gives you a simple nod before she heads off to interview someone else about the war. The life of a correspondent is certainly an odd one. Well, maybe you'll make a print, First Sergeant Grant says as you join him outside. But even if you don't, the men will know. They always know. So she's just going to walk off with your jacket, huh? It was an old one, Captain, First Sergeant Grant replies, and falls into step with you, heading back to Nickel Company without missing a stride, and I figure she needs it more than me. I'm surprised she wore it. He must be a charmer. First Sergeant Grant works his jaw, desperately trying to gather a rebuttal. At last he lets out a low sigh. Can you keep this quiet? The men don't need to know. Most haven't seen an American woman in months. Let's consider that silently. You might be right, but then, if the men find out, it might hurt morale, somehow. Keep this between us. Yeah. Not forget all about it. actually, let's go and forget all about it. Like, this is his personal life. Not the end of the world. Resolved to forget about it. Grant seems rather relieved about it. A few days later, your incredible depiction of events in Morocco receives widespread coverage in major newspapers. The press is largely pleased with your comic book-ish depiction of nickel company's trials. But your men grouse to themselves about your accounting of things, blaming you rather than the censors for removing certain nasty things. We lost trust. We got prestige. Lost trust and realism. Your new subordinate turns out to be a chestnut-haired fellow in a brand new field uniform with double-back seizes. His wide eyes shining. Ah, nice stash. Nice to have somebody from the team looking by. This game is amazing. You did a fantastic work. Like, it's really unique. I like it. Don't think it has the most amazing combat system, but it does its job really well for advancing the story. And the combat is still good. Like, yeah, really enjoying it. Shining bright with enthusiasm, seen in schoolboys who haven't seen war. Captain, he calls out, offers a parade ground salute as he steps inside your makeshift office. Thompson, Edgar G, second lieutenant reporting for duty. Edgar G. Thompson. So. Eddie Thompson. Edgar G. Eddie Thompson. Okay. The eagerness in his expression is almost painful, as he waits for you to return his salute and take a seat. He hands you his transfer papers with a grin more suited to a kid running after a good-humored truck than a soldier headed for war. Sniper just shot me? No. We are professional here. Why did you join the army, Lieutenant? It was the right thing to do, Captain, Thompson replies with unshakable conviction after you return the salute. I'm not one for thinking that anything's perfect on this fallen earth, but the United States of America is the closest thing to it. When the Japs hit Pearl Harbor, well, I sure as hell wasn't going to sit this one out. I'd been thinking about it beforehand, but there was no reason not to afterwards. Oh, I'm not sure real time is needed. Yeah, don't know. But it's a good system. I feel like slightly more in-depth system for the combat. Real time, yeah, maybe afterwards. I always like WeGo systems. But yeah, that's just me. Like my favorite strategy World War II games are Attack at Dawn and Gary Crixby, War in the Pacific. So yeah, I'm a WeGo fan. But yeah, that's just me. Like, I obviously love Steel Division and stuff as well. So like, real RTS are great. I play them a lot, but when it comes to best strategy games and tech games, I like WeGo a lot. So I guess on this level, like, it doesn't really work. So maybe could. Yeah. Where are you from, Thompson? Piedmont, South Dakota, Captain, Thompson replied. It's a little town just north of Rapid City. My pa's the school teacher there. We are not really well-traveled folk. Pa was too young for the last war, so I guess this is the first time any of us have ever fought in any army before. Well, except for my great-grand-uncle. But he fought for the Confederacy, so we don't talk about him. Will there be anything else? Yes, Captain, Thompson says, and eyes and that packed floor nervously. They told me back home that I was Officer Martyrville, but I'd be lying like a cheap rock if I said I knew what I was doing. He looks up anxiously. I don't suppose you have any advice for me, do you? Whew! Interesting start. You're here to kill the enemy? Never forget that. No, we're not going off that way. Don't try to be a hero. Just follow my orders. Could give him cunning. Do we want to give him cunning? Get a feel for the system. Like, I'm between these two. You gotta think quick to keep your feet out here. You gotta feel for the system and work with it. Let's go with that. An officer may carry the burden of command, but he's still just one part of a vast machine. One which requires each cog to work with the rest. Thompson doesn't seem to quite understand that. He nods. In that I'll do what I can, way which suggests he doesn't think he can do much at all. Hopefully he'll learn better before he wrecks his own career and more. Yeah, we go with professionalism. I think that, like, no sarcasm, directness, professionalism character. So I feel like that was the most fitting answer for our captain here. Now then, we have a battalion briefing. Step outside to find your other officers already waiting. Or rather, listening to a tall, rock-jawed captain. A ranger patch is sewn on his sleeve. Oh, we got some rangers here. So he tells me, if I want to talk to a no-good drunk, I'd look up your old man. The other captain recounts with an incongruous Harvard drawl, his hands knifing through the air with each word. Captain Cordell Boston, Ranger leader. Oh hell, Court. Wilson asks of the Ranger captain. Did you belt him right away? Well, nobody insults my pa and lives. This other man answers with a very smirk. So yeah, I socked him right in the kisser. The bastard fell over and fled as a bad souffle. Souffle? Souffle. Fled as a bad souffle. I imagine he did not appreciate the fisticuffs. God, old English is something. Dearborn interjects. Learned a lot of new words in this game so far, or like read them for like the second or third time in my life as a non-native English speaker. On the contrary, Lieutenant, the captain answers. He picks himself right off the floor, laughing like it was just a Tuesday. Then he tells me we need fighters like me. Offers to buy me a drink and invites me to join the Rangers. Lovely story, Captain. It is, the Ranger captain says, and offers a salute. I'm Captain Cordell Boston. Wilson here is an old friend of mine. He's told me a lot about you and the company. We've been lucky and skilled. Good to meet you, Captain Boston. Captain Boston nods back. All business. I'm sure I've taken enough of your time. He nods to you each in turn. Captain, gentlemen, Sam. Captain Boston departs. Wilson chuckles to himself, then turns to you. Who's this feller? Wilson asks and nods toward the still silent Thompson. I should make this quick. Full introductions are in order. Did everyone introduce themselves? No. Let's introduce them all on the base level. Introduce Lieutenant Thompson to your officers quickly. Simply Lieutenant Stern, Dearborn, and Wilson. Thompson takes the time to shake hands with each of their others, which would be all fine and dandy if the briefing didn't start in 5 minutes. I hope you do not mind the rough welcome, Lieutenant, Dearborn says to Thompson as you all migrate toward the briefing tent. There are many new faces in the officers' mess these days. New company commanders and new regimental commander, and even a new CO at battalion. The others not. Major Cloud had been transferred to the 9th Infantry Division not long after Casablanca. You'd barely gotten to know Colonel Itzenauer? Isenauer? That sounds like a German name put into English. Isenauer? Okay. His replacement before he came down with malaria and had to be invalidated home. His replacement is probably why there is a briefing today. G, Thompson replies anxiously. Does anyone know what the battalion commander is like? The new one, I mean? We haven't met him. There's no point speculating. I'm sure some have ideas. I've heard some, Wilson admits. None of them good. Heard the fella got transferred directly from a supply depot. That he's never commanded men in combat. Give one expressions in a grim one. A clerk who glanced at his file said his only real command has been in the Philippines. That he has never led white men before, let alone infantry. I heard he's a German, Stern says, as if he were spitting a watermelon seed. A dirty, no-good Crouch Schmeckle. He's no Rommel, but he is here to kill Germans too. I hope so, Stern says. I'd like to find out for sure before he starts leading us into combat. No weedy desk clerk awaits you in the briefing tent. No cackling radio serial villain either. Instead, the briefing is opened by a brown-haired, strong-chinned giant of a man who looks barely older than you. Lieutenant Colonel John O. Heintes? Oh god. Heintges? That is a name. Battalion CO. He was actually just a lieutenant colonel right now, but please, just flow with it. It's only when you see the rank on his collar that you realize he must be Colonel Heinz, the new battalion commander. Gentlemen, he says, and motions you over, his sharp eyes fix on your own. I know I might take some getting used to, but I'd like to avoid losing too much time to either dilly or dally. The sooner you fellas know the odds, the sooner you can pass along the breaks to the men who do the work. Understood? Colonel Heinz snaps up a long wooden pointer and steps forward to the briefing board. There's a lot of pinned. So I guess all of this also is historically accurate, right? Like, this is a historical figure. And, like, the story with the malaria for the other guy, I guess, is historical as well. The replacement that came in for, like, 2 weeks. Colonel Heinz snaps up a long wooden pointer and steps before the briefing board. There's a lot pinned on there, including a map of Europe's soft underbelly, with a bold Army Air Force mark upon it. Starting next week, the entire 3rd Infantry Division will begin a new training schedule. In addition to the current hand-to-hand fighting drills, the Army daily dozen and long-distance runs will begin amphibious landing exercises and rock climbing practice as well. The training is amphibious, then it's not Algeria. Since there's rock climbing, it's not Sardinia. There are long runs, then it's not Corsica. The others finally remember to take their seats. The new schedule is sun up to sundown. Once the Germans are kicked out of Tunisia, our forces will combine with the British 8th Army, and together we will embark on the next step towards breaking the Nazis' stranglehold over Europe, Colonel Heinz indicates. Our next thrust targets the soft underbelly of Hitler's empire. We will land in Sicily. Glad Morocco trained us for this. And the 7th Infantry Regiment has the honor of being its spearhead. We will fight the Italians on the beaches. We'll fight the Germans inland. It will be a struggle.
In other words, we were outside of Bizerte because they bombed the port of Bizerte. The Germans did quite often because we were about, I would say 25 miles from Bizerte in bivouac area. And we could see the searchlights and stuff at night up there, and you could see the ack-ack going up and breaking, and you could hear the bombs falling and everything. But it was a long way from us. I mean, but when we left. They cleaned everything out. You know, of course, Africa had fallen by that time, and because we left from the port of Bizerte to go to Sicily then.
0400 hours, 10th of July, 1943, at sea.
There it was. Sicily.
Let's go to Europe. The Euro trip begins. The deck of the landing craft shifts beneath your boots as you scan the dark of night. There is not a hint of land in sight. Your whole world has been reduced to the metallic bulk of a hull and the stink of salt water mixed with diesel fumes. The faint crash of waves above the ever-present din of diesel engines is the only relief from the monotony. From the enclosed wheelhouse, you watch your company assemble on the open deck before you. Wet and miserable, they form up by platoon, each bracing themselves for the battle soon to come. This would be the most westward landing zone. Okay. Alright, First Sergeant Grant bellows over the thrum of the engines. Let me go through the plan one last time for you jokers in the back. 1st and 2nd Battalion have gone off ahead to secure us a beachhead. Grant continues. First order of business, once we hit the ground, is to clear the coastal defenses of the west flank. That be the left side for those who forgot your compasses in Africa. The sunrise will tell them where eastward it lies. It will be the westernmost invasion unit. The men chuckle at such greenhorn notions. They are veterans of Africa. If you're wondering how far we have to go, it's not far, First Sergeant Grant calls out, his bellow of a voice competing with the engines. You'll see the cliffs plain as day. They are that big, the Italians supposedly have them all wired up. So we gotta swing around and hit them from behind. Hey Sarge, comes a familiar voice from the assembled throng. If we're going around the cliff, then what's with the ladders? Good question. We may make you corporal one day. You may make corporal one day. Talon thinks the Navy might drop us off target. Grant explains. All the veterans understand. If some of us somehow end up under the cliffs, they'll be able to climb up. Unless you'd prefer to do it by hand. US Army manuscript planning map for the Allied landing near Licata, Sicily. On 10th July 1943. Image courtesy of the Library of Congress. Forget the climbing. I prefer a steak dinner and 3 hours alone with Rita Hayworth. Morris calls out. Could you order that instead? That better conversation with Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr is cited as the most beautiful of women, but she apparently has a brain just as impressive. At least that's what Howard Hughes says about her, going so far as to place his engineers and scientists at her disposal. Half the company bursts out laughing at the joke. Grant isn't one of them. Your first sergeant steadfastly ignores the interruption and presses on. Our job is to clear a path inland for our AT guns. They will lock down the main highway to Agrigento. If those guns don't get there, the Krauts can drive their panzers up that road and roll the whole damn landing. So do not fuck this up. Understood? Yes, First Sergeant, the private in the front calls back. Others merely nod in agreement. The sailing over from Tunisia hasn't been quick or easy. Half the men are sick or close to it. And before you can do anything about that, you have to get them back to the beach. You have to get them to the beach. You cast a quick glance across the cramped bridge to the figure at the wheel. The Navy, in its infinite wisdom, assigned you the same guy who drove your Higgins boat in Morocco. He hasn't really been much of a conversationalist during the trip across the Mediterranean, but given how he'd handled things last time, you're probably in pretty good hands. The wave slams into the ship. Some of the men are tossed enough to revisit their breakfast, or even dinner. But not every man. Up there at the prow is Lieutenant Thompson, standing tall amid your old first platoon. As the landing craft steadies itself, he steadies with it. Kids got his sea legs. First Sergeant Grant notes quietly beside you. What do you think of Lieutenant Thompson? I think he's a new officer, Captain. First Sergeant Grant says in a low voice so as not to be overheard. Has he got Stern's belly full of fire? Hard to say, Captain. Never saw that man drunk on fire water, the Sergeant Grant says, but he's certainly eager to prove himself to the men. Captain may occasionally lose an order. Thompson may occasionally gain morale. He will do fine. He had his training. You already have 3 other officers and 100 men to look after. Thompson will get his share of attention, no more, no less. He glances at your map, finds things in order. All the objectives are cleanly laid out. All you need to do is take them. Captain, First Sergeant Grant remarks aloud in dutiful public tones, we are getting close now. Do you want to say a few words to the men before we hit the beach? Let's talk to them. You follow Grant out onto the deck, onto the open deck. Your company is all there. Company, attention! Thunder of boots pounds the steel deck in unison, drowning out the din of the engine for one brief moment. Grant turns to you and gives you a nod. They are all yours, Captain. You stare at your own men. 186 soldiers in all. They stare back at you, waiting. I'll keep it this short. Some of the men start to relax already. Looks like the enlisted aren't much fond of worthy officers. The enemy are human and they can be beaten. When you hit the beach, remember who you are. The enemy are human and they can be beaten. In the early days, the war the Germans seemed to have it all, their own way. Then came El Alamein and Stalingrad. The tide is turning. As you heard, use your head, and you'll have them by the balls. If you can keep your head when everyone else loses theirs, then you are one step ahead. Remember that, and we'll make it through this. Good luck and Godspeed. The men nod and stand easy with a confident swagger. They can handle this. And now they know it too. The rattle of gunfire echoes in the distance of the bow. Fog flashes silver and gold with the ghostly reports of artillery. Slivers of dawn light reveal the silhouette of a coastline ahead. For an instant, the glare of the shell bursts outlines the faint outline of a hill, a house, and a clump of trees on the top of a cliff. Captain, we are at the cliffs, Lieutenant Thompson shouts out about the din. Lieutenant Wilson grabs Thompson's arm and tracks him over to you. Yeah, kid, the Navy's gone off course, just like Colonel Hitchens figured they might. Indeed, Lieutenant Dearborn declares as he somehow manages to stroll over despite the shifting deck. Our situation appears to have changed greatly, and none for the better. New plan is in order. We plan to fight and we win, Stern says, and he charges up from the back. That hasn't changed. The shore is drawing steadily closer, 2 minutes it will be too late to do anything but go ashore. Let's inquire Dearborn. If invasions have shown anything this century, it is the urgent need to step from sea to shore and keep pushing. Lieutenant Dearborn says. Gallipoli is the prime example, and not one I would be keen to duplicate. Can't we at least call on the Navy for support? Rake the cliffs with fire before we go charging in, Lieutenant Thompson asks. The Navy is supposed to blast the town for at least 1 hour, First Sergeant Grant reminds you quietly, which wasn't going to be a problem since it would take at least twice as long to get over there. A glance at the map he holds. A hurried set of revisions has been penciled in. One thing is certain, the towns will be waiting on the other side of the cliffs. It'll be a hard fight coming, and you'll have to concentrate your forces and not get tied down in firefights against an entrenched enemy. We can't go left unless the Navy shifts fire. The exit draw is to the right. It was the original plan. The Navy is going to hammer the town. But if the company could follow in the wake of those strikes, maybe the towns wouldn't be set up to oppose the advance. When you look back up again, the shore is that much closer. Naval delays may be reduced. Coordination of the Navy will be paramount. Scaling the cliffs will be... Got to go over the cliffs. I like that following the fire. You indicate to your officers that they'll need to wait on your word, then send them back to their platoons. Without the Navy involved, Nickel Company will suffer. But the Navy will need crit targets, and there isn't time to give those to them yet. Wilson calls out for predetermined men to take up the ladders. Dearborn employs a quick, even odd approach to sort things quick. Thompson leans heavily on his sergeant to get his laddermen deployed. Stern's mortar teams sling their heavy burdens and wait to follow behind the infantry. Let's go. A shudder ripples through. Deck blades as the bow crunches against the shore. The engines strain for a second to make sure the LCI won't drift free, slowing the ship slightly to the side. Your fingers tighten around the stock of your carbine. The ramps come down. Breakers crash against the sand. Your heart thuds in your chest. Let's get off here, guys. Okay. "20 turns. This is pretty damn awful. Okay.
We've got tripwires.
Seasick, okay. Also seasick. Whoa.
Mines.
Shit. The speech was made for tourists, but that's not why you're here. Cliffs are high, but your men carried the scaling ladders ashore. The draw to the right, the draw to the right, which would have been your exit, the Navy hadn't screwed up, is one way through. For that matter, beachside town to the left could give your men cover, but the Navy has plans to begin pulverizing it, and soon. contact the Navy, request they sweep the cliffs. Well, prestige -1. The Navy is very likely to bombard the exit draw starting next turn. Possible delays. Request to sweep the exit draw. Ain't good. First Sergeant says as he waits ashore. The town's gotta have something on the cliffs, in the draws, and in the town. Okay, so I can't tell them to waltz through the city and follow. Well, I could do that. I could let them just hit the town. And then follow through that. Okay, yeah, want to push left. Right at them and off this bastard beach. The Sergeant Grant replies. He turns to your runners and dispatches them with the messages. So yeah, we wanna have this hit. This is all good line of sight here. That they have mines over here is hella annoying. Because yeah, I kind of would want to sweep it along here. All the objectives are on the right. But I feel like that's also where a lot of the enemies will be. We can't sweep in here, maybe from the rear. So, want to try that approach. Oh, hell no. Is that a L42? It's one of those annoying Italian 47mm, isn't it? Or 37? Yeah, Canona 47, 32. Really good. And I think we want to... Oh, come on. Keep pinning them down.
Suppressing fire!
Stern. Do we get mortars? We do get mortars.
Let's get it done!
Okay, nice. We got the 47mm out of action. That was a good hit. We move you. The thunder from the west end of the beach. Thunder from the west end of the beaches. Jesus Christus. Rubieski, your Sparky radio operator, explains over the distant ringing of your ears as he ceases to shield the radio. The precious link with battalion is untouched. What in God's name was that? Italian anti-tank guns varied in quality, but not in quantity. They were rare. This particular image depicts the destruction of the Robert Ron bombed by Ju-88's bombers off Gala. The first Sergeant Grant sprints towards the medieval-looking village, carrying a tank gun with a clear shot off on the beach. Judging by the trajectory, we might want to clear that bastard out, Captain says as he turns to you, shifting the sleeve to at least a bit of the dirt faults. That's still there when our tank comes through. You don't need him to tell. You don't need him to spell it out for you. Those enemy armor-piercing shells might kill a single man if he's unlucky, but they can more readily hit tanks, trucks, and just about anything else tries to get ashore. Okay, yeah, we got that anti-tank gun already though. So, yeah, good job there, guys. Let's get you up.
What the hell was that?
Seasick as well. That is fine. Okay. We get the captain up here.
The men depend on you, Captain.
Okay. I don't want to get up there right now. I want to push to the left side here. Oops. Okay.
We'll find the best way.
Time ticks as your men continue their push onto the beach. Thunder crashes out from the sea. Big guns, little guns, they all join in. The town gets plastered, just as was planned. Okay. Kind of want to push around here. Get the rest ready here. But we can't follow that up. These guys got messed up by the... Let's relieve these men.
Get back in there.
That's good. Ah, it's the whole hex mind. Okay.
Ready?
Let's get those guys back to full.
Move it.
Let's actually move with these guys. Oh. More mines.
We're all gonna die.
That's annoying.
Minefield.
Okay, spotted something. Can't call in anything on this 8mm. Ah, no. Okay. Let's hit him. And we can't move these guys right now. Come on, get moving. Those minefields are annoying. Big naval guns continue to pound the town. Town that you may have to enter soon. Let them keep pounding the town. Shift fire northwards. Yeah, it's later here in Germany as well. Stash, see you around. Thanks for joining. Sleep well. That is true. Okay. Summon Corporal Sobieski and have him send a fire support request to the Navy. Hey, that's further north. Okay. Sit. Ah, this has actual line of sight there. Okay. Let's push on safely. Okay. It's only a bit further north. But it is further north. So we don't cross the road this turn. Damn, that town gets pounded. But yeah, I like to use that artillery salvo. Like, would be a waste to have that artillery and not be able to use it at all. Hmm. Oh. Oh shit. Oh, that's a little... Okay. Ooh. Can't call him in on these guys. Still no line of sight here. Okay. This town, it has been further north, so... Patterson loops in from the direction of first platoon as the crack of rifle continues to rise and fall in distance. Captain, he says, and lets slip a little cough. Our new Lieutenant Thompson, he's got something to ask about the Navy firing on the town. Spit it out, Patterson. Go ahead. Will do, Captain, Patterson says. Thompson says the Navy should stop firing on the town because it's killing civilians, ruining history, making ruins too early, and wasting firepower on blind targets. I've already asked the Navy to shift fire. Okay, Captain. Patterson says, guess I don't have to pretend to try to convince you. Private Patterson accepts his dismissal like the veteran he is and scampers back in the direction of first platoon. The crack of rifle continues in the distance. Come on, let's go. Yes, we made it in there. Okay. Let's keep moving down there. This is annoying. Let's
Want us to do what?
come on, you can do it. I think we want to get you a bit off the beach as well. Okay. This is annoying. Let's have Wilson move around. And up the cliff. Whoa. Oh, come on. Those mines. We can fire back at those guys, but that's not really helpful. We are pretty much out in the open here. Don't like that, but... Stunning those Italians down there is pretty important. Even more Italians here.
Pick your targets.
Okay. We actually inflicted some casualties there. Okay. That is fine. Guess. It's really these guys. We are human mine detectors. Navy just will not shift fire from the town to the north of the town. Send an additional message to the Navy. Shift fire northward. Actually, oh no. Okay, let's get you out of the town. Battalion radio, Corporal Sobeski calls you out. They want to scout out for big gun, firing on beach. Always one more thing. First Sergeant Grant notes. Okay. Let's push along the town. No! Casualties. Not a big fan of that. Oh god. Italian artillery.
Take cover.
Oh no! It's starting to get bloody here, guys. Oh boy. Oh boy.
MG!
Their machine guns may not be the best in the world, but they are still machine guns. Can be lethal to riflemen moving in the open. Yeah, this is ignoring. This is not going well right now. Let's pin down that MG. Let's not get blown up by minefields, please. Okay. We hit those pretty well. Let's hit that with mortar. Good. You get back to your MG. There are a few that can shoot at us here. Come on, do it. No, we failed. Okay, now we might as well rally here. Oops, we rallied them. That was not what I actually planned. Come on. Let's get you all over there, guys.
Keep up.
Okay. Okay, that worked. Mm. Just keep them pinned down. Good job. So all doing fine. Let's bolster that unit. Officers trying to kill us? What? Yes, yeah, let's keep them pounding the trenches. Okay. Good. Good. Good hit there. Artillery fire continues. Happy with that.
Incoming.
Whoa. That's the Italians. That was close. Okay. Hmm. Let's rally these bad boys. Okay. This is a fine morale check. Let's go, guys. Come on.
Stand with me.
Should have bolstered them beforehand. Okay. No.
Walker. It's our turn. Let's go.
Okay. We get them surrendered. Two kids and a dog are running. Okay.
Even stop pussyfooting around and fire.
Can you call in water fire on this? No. Okay. Don't think you can do this. No. Keep shooting these guys. Come on, let's get over there. Hey, Tanka.
It is the time of the month again. SC
Nice.
League Pog.
Hey, we get those.
Follow me!
Hope you're doing fine. Okay, that's good. We can't fire on these guys. Okay. Let's move you over there then. Okay. Can you fire on these guys? No. Let's go stern. Come on. I don't think there's anybody that actually will fire on us here. I think we pinned most of them down well. Yes, good job. Let's move through the town. And up through it. And finally get you over as well. Okay. Maybe shells continue crashing around the trenches. Let them. That's fine. Still don't have a line of sight there. This. Okay, let's start off shooting here. We want them fully stressed out. Ooh, we even got some casualties there. Okay.
Quick time!
Let's get you guys in there. Oh. Annoying Italian guns. Oh, that's our guns. Keep pounding them as well. That should stress these guys out a bit. Yeah. Good direct hit.
Come on!
And these guys now can make a deep run. Failed. Okay. Or not. Or not. 37 months. Over 3 years now. Nice. Thanks for all the support. Forgot that I have. Yeah. It's impressive how long I'm doing this already. It's impressive how long you have been around Tanka as well. Hope you're doing fine. Gotta rally this one.
You have been trained!
And then we can push forward with this. First objective seized. And we go over. Come on, let's go over trench. Hey Frank, you turn to see Patterson point off to the side. Are those our guys? Hey, yeah, Morris answers as he turns to follow Patterson's fingers. It doesn't take you long to see what they are seeing. A handful of figures in a lift trap, well behind the rest of that squad. Every moment they prove to be a little further back. When the squad pauses, these same men halt and take a little longer to get going than anyone else. Being behind the front line is probably exactly what they want. What gifts? But Sergeant Morris calls out. How come they get out of class early? They get a football game or something? By those yellow malingers, Grant growls in the throat, slitting fury. He turns to you. Captain, permission to run those bastards down and beat some goddamn sense into them. Let the stragglers go. Reduce strength for next scenarios. Alright, but no rough stuff. The squad will suffer a morale penalty, some reduced strength in next scenario. We are professionalism here, so do whatever it takes. Grant stalks off with a pair of balled fists and a drill sergeant's grimace. You watch him as he chases down the lagards like Jaeger stalking prey. Shouts something at the stragglers. One of them shouts something back. Grant decks the man with one hand and then drags him up by the scruff of his neck with the other before shoving him towards the rest of his outfit. The malingerers get the message. So do the others. Before long, your first sergeant is herding them back towards their squad. Yeah, can't let that happen. The man swings by and moves a driving glove on his belt. Okay. Let's keep that pinned. Good job. Let's keep these guys fully suppressed. Well, they have a leader there as well. Yeah, that's good. Let them, let the Italian officer not get his. Oh, what? They even. How are they actually doing? Okay. Let's call a mortar in on these guys. And let's do the job of the Airborne's man here. Don't want to clear this out. That Italian artillery is really annoying. Oh, we got lucky there. No! No stress damage? Okay. Okay. Nobody in this fighting position. A runner not one of yours comes racing over. Captain, item company sent me. We've got to have your mortars. Mr. Runner, items company must handle this. Try to figure this out quick. We need that mortar. We really kind of need that. Try to figure this out quick. 2 suppression. There's a load of the Italians, at least 100, heading for the hills. The runner manages to stay between gulp of air. Self-demobilization? First Sergeant Grant marks. Didn't the press figure that might happen? Something about how a lot of Italian soldiers are tired and have kin around here? Do you still have your mortars? The runner from the item company asks. If you do, got the Italian soldiers are tired and have kin around here? Do you still have your mortars? The runner from the item company asks. If you do, got the coordinates. We can get them all clumped up. By a mortar barrage, because our ones are heading through a gap in the hills. Our guys figured it'd be a turkey shoot. The IT's still armed. Grant asked, probably, the runner replies, then reconsiders. Hell, almost certainly. Got to nail him down. Expand radio orders. Gain a favor from the item company. Test doctrine. Captain expands all remaining orders. Very high chance of combat fatigue. Caught a mortar fire myself. Offer to contact the Navy. Can get Stern on the radio and have him throw a barrage on the coordinates provided. He's always eager. Let's give him the order. Popple Sobeski, keys the radio. Nickel 46, Nickel 46. This is Nickel 6. Do you copy? Over. He listens in. Roger, Nickel 46. Nickel 6 actually is on the line. Over. Nickel 6 actually is on the line. Looks to you. Captain, Stern is Nickel 46 actually is on his way. Corporal passes over the handset and the familiar crackle of the radio tugs at your ear. What is it, Captain? Stern asks from the other side. The crack of the nearby machine gun is unmistakable. Are tanks coming over? Negative. We have a fire mission for you. You explain the fire mission and give the coordinates. Coordinates received. Stern replies. Commencing fire out. In less than a minute, the mortars start popping off rounds. Distant explosions sound in the distance. The runner sacks a little in relief. That done, you dismiss the runner back to item company and return your focus on the battle before you. Okay. Some more Italians here. Okay. Naval shells commit to crash. Final objective is on the top left. Should fire straight along the northern road. Let's hit the bunkers. Okay. Bolstered. Undaunted leader. Okay. These guys are annoying.
Fire!
We can't move you now, right?
Fire!
Okay. Let's get these guys going. That actually came through. Okay. Getting closer here as well. Do we have... Okay. We get these guys up a bit further.
Get down!
Oh. Telling artillery is annoying. Where's the last of these units? Oh yeah, right up here.
That son of a bitch.
Ooh, what?
Except it's not obvious now, is it?
What? What are you guys on about? You could charge this and get rid of it.
Cotton balers, don't let me down.
Hey,
Carter, with me.
good job. And to combat.
Harris, with me.
Clearing out that MG. I don't want to get rid of these guys. This works out as well. Okay. I guess we just keep on pinning these guys. Just to make sure. Way early? Come on. Let's go. Mortar is busy on the other side. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's get up this ridge. Oh. Shit. No casualties. That's not good. That's really bad, actually. No, this is kind of terrible. Okay, let's move them to the northern road. Not sure if that worked.
We've got a job to do.
Okay. Rally these guys. Guys, do that. We can win that hand-to-hand combat up there.
Get those bastards.
Good. Really good. Got them surrendered. Italian guns. These guys are not looking like they're gonna shoot back. No. Okay. Okay. Cleaned up there.
Non fermarti!
I have to try to get our MGs up there. Oh, this is terrible.
Spara tutti!
Good job rallying, but this stays terrible. First Sergeant Grant taps your